News. Economic indicators or reports are snippets of financial and economic data published by various agencies of the government or private sector. These statistics, which are made public on a regularly scheduled basis, help market observers monitor the pulse of the economy. Shortly, I'll cover some of the most important news to keep a lookout for. While it might seem that an advanced degree in economics would come in handy to analyze and then trade on the glut of information contained in these economic indicators, a few simple guidelines are all that is necessary to track, organize, and make trading decisions based on the data. Know exactly when each economic indicator or report is due to be released. Keep a calendar on your desk or trading station that contains the date and time when each stat will be made public. Keeping track of the calendar of economic indicators will also help you make sense out of otherwise unanticipated price action in the market. Mostly, the largest players in the exchange market are the various countries that participate in market activities. News and information regarding a country's economy could have a direct impact on the direction that the country's currency might be headed. This occurs in a similar way that current events and financial news would affect stock prices, hence the importance of economic factors. Since currencies only trade in pairs in the Forex market, their values are generally expressed relative to that of another currency. The same relationship tends to hold true with respect to evaluating the economic news relevant to each currency. Furthermore, in the most actively traded currency pairs, the US dollar usually takes the role of being the primary standard against which the values of other currencies are measured for historical reasons. As a result, when reviewing the economic data that has already been released as part of your fundamental analysis process, you will need to take into account the overall economic picture in both of the nations involved in the currency pair you're interested in trading. You can then weigh the key fundamental factors for one country's currency against the data observed for the other country's currency to obtain your fundamental forecast for the pair. High impact news. News that affects the market can be divided into three categories: low impact news, medium impact news, and high impact news. The key thing to know is which news have the highest impact. That way, you'll be able to exit the trade on time before that news is announced, or even better, you can skip the trade that had its signal occur just before the high impact news release. Sometimes you'll get the signal to enter the trade. You'll enter it, and the trade will immediately go against you. That is usually the case if you entered the trade just before the news. That's why it's so important to be aware of the news, its impact, and the time of its release. Examples of high impact news are the employment data, interest rates, inflation, GDP or the gross domestic product, retail sales, durable goods, trade and capital flows, macroeconomic and geopolitical events. Economic calendar. The economic calendar is basically a list of news releases scheduled for a future time. It gives an idea of their potential impact and the time of the release. It may also help predict the news outcome. It's good practice to open up an economic calendar every day before you start trading and take notice especially of the high impact news events scheduled for that day. Not trading around the high impact news can significantly increase your profits as you'll be reducing your risk. Economic calendars will usually detail the following: the date, the time, the currency, the impact, the news name, the actual figures, the forecast, and the previous data. On this image, you can see how an economic calendar might look. On September 5th at 8:30 in the morning, the non-farm employment change was released. It is a high-impact news event that affects the US dollar. Previous month's figures were 215,000. Expected figures for the current month were 230,000, while the actual figures that came out were 200,000. So again, be aware of important news events. Open your economic calendar each day before your trading session and try to skip any trades right before the news. You will reduce risk by doing so and increase your win ratio. Best news sources. Now, this is sources of actual news. If you want to find out more about a certain news release, there are plenty of sources. By reading financial analysis articles and watching videos, you'll be able to interpret announced news more concisely. Some of the best sources that are freely available on the internet are Bloomberg, international news agency headquartered in New York. CNBC. CNBC is an American basic cable and satellite business news television channel. The network and its international spin-offs cover business headlines and provide live coverage of financial markets. CNN Money. CNN and Money Magazine combine business news, stock quotes, and financial market coverage with personal finance advice, tools, and investing tips. Forbes. Forbes is an American business magazine owned by Forbes, Inc. Published bi-weekly, it features original articles on finance, industry, investing, and marketing topics. Forbes also reports on related subjects such as technology, communication, science, and law. Its headquarters are in New York City. Thank you for watching.